Welcome back to another edition of the Market Money Report. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Rain, and today we are joined by Mr. Mining himself, Peter Hawley. How are you doing, Peter?
Very good, Zach, and just digging out of the snowstorm.
Yeah, exactly. Just like it's your own version of mining too, right?
Always digging a hole, but in this case, I'd rather go underground than going on surface.
I think all of us would right now. Everybody, Peter is the CEO of Fabled Copper. Fabled Copper is trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange under FABL. So, Peter, tell us, what does Fabled Copper do?
Well, Fabled Copper is a brand new company that was just listed in December 21st, 2021,
Mm-hmm.
which was a spin out of Fabled Silver, which I created. So basically, I created both companies.
Mm-hmm.
The specialty about Fabled Copper is one jurisdiction, one metal. And it's copper in British Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people probably don't know their stats or anything else, but you probably don't know that in British Columbia, there's over 75% of the copper in Canada is produced out of British Columbia.
Well, it's pretty special.
Yeah, and where do you think the smelter is to produce copper in Canada? Where would you think it would be logically?
You think it would be in BC, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me it's
No,
probably in
no,
Quebec.
no. It's in Quebec. It's
Yeah.
on the other side of the problem. No, it's all the logistics are all. But anyway, that's a long story. That's not why we're here. But the thing about Fable Copper is a brand new company, very well financed.
Mm-hmm.
The people behind it are in management, myself and the board of directors. And some of these board of directors have never been on a board before because they didn't never wanted to, or have retired and came out of retirement to do this search with me. And the search is for this.
Wow.
That,
That's copper.
that's copper, man. That's one ingot of copper. This is 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
That's
what it looks like.
that's pretty special.
And British Columbia being the best place to be in Canada, and we were lucky enough, and it's a long story, and I won't get into it. It took years and years for myself that we have what we call the Musqueam project.
Mm-hmm.
There's three separate projects, very close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and in a very small area, you have 4 miles by 6 miles of very high grade copper occurrences. And so usually when you float a company or something like that, you're going like, oh yeah, I would just love to see a sniff of copper or something like that. No, 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 no. This is completely different. And as you've seen, we put out a couple news releases, and it's multiple tens percent copper. It's not 1%, it's not less than 1%. It's
That is
crazy
rich.
numbers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And go to our website if you want to see it. We do little videos on our news releases. But the point of it is the concentration of metal in such a small area and virtually unexplored is unheard of. Like it's hard to in Canada you can't do that. And on top of that, if you wanted to say it was even crazier, and I guess you could put it in layman's terms, is and this is well documented in our presentations and everything else. There's these numerous copper occurrences that are documented in the British Columbia Mining Bureau or whatever. A lot of them haven't been looked at since 1968, but there's been two or three of them. And one was a mine that was actually in production and shut down. And it didn't shut down because of it ran out of ore. It shut down because ran out of copper prices got too low.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
70 cents. I mean, you're it's getting pretty skinny.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, the same company was developing a second mine, and we own all these. And they went in and did all the underground development and everything else. But by the time we hit the metal prices and everything else, well, you can say that's historical or this or that, but you know what? In today's world, that is the best bulk sample you could ever take.
Really?
Well, think about it. I mean, they took
yeah, that makes sense.
500,000 ton bulk sample out of one thing, and then over here they had I don't know how many tons of development ore over how many levels of it. So hey, what a great bulk sample. I mean, yeah. And so here we are launching ourselves, and we're pure exploration guys with out of the box thinking. And it's not just starting with deposits, it's looking at the bigger picture and saying, why in an area of 4 miles by 6 miles is there so much copper? And it's not normal low grade open pit copper. This is 3% plus copper. And that is not usual, I'll tell you.
No, like at the risk of sounding too corny, it sounds like you struck gold, but with copper.
Wow. We'll see. I mean, if you get back to the economics are a little different. But and as well as everybody else watching this, there's a big change coming from ICE, internal combustion engines, to the new EVs.
You hit it right on the nose, Peter, right on the nose. That's the economics behind it, right? So talk to us about the intrigue and the demand for copper right now.
Well, it's almost threefold. I mean, I have neighbors. I live in a nice area, and I'm very lucky for that. And I go for a walk, and I see some people like, I don't have one. I can't afford one, but I see people with like 2 Teslas in the yard, right? Now, those 2 Teslas, each Tesla takes 3 times the amount of copper of an ICE car, internal combustion engine, or a gas car, right? So look down the driveway and say, okay, here's 1 Tesla here. Okay, I'll look down there and okay, 1, 2, 3 cars that way. Okay, that equals that one. And I look the other way, and then 3 cars that way. Yes, I mean, think about it. It's crazy.
No, it is crazy.
And that's not just the only capacity for copper, but that is just on consumption level, huge.
And we know that obviously a lot of the countries of the world are now moving towards that electric vehicle fleet for their various government programs, right? So, the demand, it doesn't take anybody to look and see that it's going to just grow exponentially. So then the question is will supply be able to keep up with all the demand?
Well, no, it won't. There's no, this is a catch-up game. And unfortunately, the horse has broken the gate and is racing down the road, and everybody's kind of looking at it and going like, oh, wow, we got to do something.
Yeah.
And in the world, most of the copper production has come from these great big open pits that last forever. And they're great and big low grade copper porphyry deposits. Man, you can go forever. But the only thing is the majority of those are all old and tired, and there hasn't been too many new ones put online. So there's going to be this huge gap. And I was joking with someone else, and I was saying, it's almost like the Musquat project where we are, because we're dealing with mountains and we can see it vertically and horizontal. But the thing about it is it's like green copper. And why I say that is it's underground. We don't have a footprint. We don't create a big hole. We don't do this. We don't, so it's a little different, but we're way, way, way from that, so, to that point in time.
No, but that's okay. So let's talk, because you referenced it before about the spin out. Let's talk about the spin out. Obviously there are many different advantages from, becoming just Fabled Copper, including diverting resources, having, one goal, one mission in mind, and being able to focus all your attention on that, right? But, talk to me about what you're going to do with all the capital that you just raised as Fabled Copper.
Well, that's a very good one because, with a lot of these copper projects that have been left behind or whatever, there's a reason why they've been left behind,
Hmm.
and because exploring them is expensive,
Hmm.
and hence the raise of capital. Because in a large part, we use helicopters to access where we
Right.
want to look, right?
Right.
But But what's really cool, and people will be seeing it very shortly during this year, is we've taken to build up to the point in time where we had our 2021 exploration program. We took all the historical knowledge it had, everything else, tried to digitize it, you know, airborne geophysics, ground geophysics, whatever you could find, and just put it all into the various programs, GIS or whatever, map info. Look at it and then try to say, okay, what's this telling us? And then we took that and we said, okay, where is the gap in all of this? All of this. So we went in, and in 2021, we went in and started filling in what we considered the gaps. But the biggest game changer in all of this is we flew 6 drone surveys
Wow.
over the 6 biggest copper occurrences. And when I say, flew them over, I'm talking a swath of maybe, I don't know, 2.5 kilometers by 5 kilometers or something like this. I
Hmm.
mean, they're a big swath.
Yeah.
Well, what you have to realize is when this drone is flying, okay, when this thing's going, the it's doing 2 or 3 things. It's one is like it's putting out a 3-dimensional laser beam, and it's hitting every point and creating all these data points. And as it's doing that, it's creating a 3D tilt image, like stitching together a 3D image, like you would see in Star Wars or something.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's shooting 5G camera photographs. Okay.
That's
And
amazing.
it's taking these photographs, and these photographs in real time are being layered over this this figure you created, right? And the nutty thing about this, the accuracy is 3 to 5 centimeters.
That is just, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, but take it one step further. You have that, and then on a tablet, you can take it and scroll through it and look down.
And map it
And
on
the
it. Yeah.
accuracy is so high that copper, when it oxides, it turns blue. And you can see copper oxides on surface, and you can go to your chop pile the next day and say, hey, I want to go here. And boom, away you go.
That is,
So it saves you a lot of time and money in the field.
no, of course, that I could say, well, I could see why you said that's a game changer. That's, you're mapping everything out and you're surveying everything without having to put, boots to ground because of this technology, which is, it's like you
Yep.
said, it's going to save a lot of money and save a lot of time, which, time is money.
Yep.
So that's extra special. I wanted to ask you about the drones because I thought it was so interesting when I was reading about it, but it's so interesting what you've been able to do. So, you've been doing this for 35 years, right? You've been an industry expert. You've got experience and knowledge that, the people wish that they could have had, right? So why is the Musqueam project so much more special? Is it because of, the high grade resolution pictures you can find? Is it because of the density of all the copper? If you could sum it up into 3 main points, why is this project in itself the game changer for the viewer to take note of?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I would say, as you present them, door number 2, the density of the copper. You don't, it's just so, there's just so much. It's crazy. Like, why is it so isolated in one small area? And
Yeah.
I mean, for local people, it may not sound like a big area, like, 4 miles by 6 miles, but man, there's a pile of copper. So where we're leading to with all the stuff that we did last year, and people will be finding out during this year, and I've been like absolutely crazy going talking to drill companies and helicopter companies and slinging companies and doing this, is this year we're having a very intensive first phase drill program, tying in all this high technology plus the historical data. And we're going to give these things a poke, see just how big they are. So that's where we're going.
That is fantastic. Well, we want to thank you so much here at the Market Money Report for joining us today, Peter. Everybody, anytime you see an electric vehicle driving down the street or parked in on the driveway, I want you to think about Fabled Copper and what they are bringing to the future. Okay. Thank you again, Peter, for joining us.
You're very welcome.
This is the Market Money Report. I'm your host, Zachary Rain, and make sure that you go out and you look up FABL on the Canadian Securities Exchange, because we're expecting big things from them. Have a great day.